story of our lives. But hey, I might be speaking to a genius, so I should shut up.
No, not me.
Was läuft?
I mean, I just have a high IQ.
That helps.
Just a little bit.
That helps.
No genius, though.
It was funny, I was out in LA and I heard this, the day I got your tape, I made a couple of tapes off of the radio.
Mm-hmm.
The day I listened to your tape in my car, I had this other tape of a radio show I taped.
Mm-hmm.
So I put it in and it's like, now we've got Jennifer something with a special Hollywood report. And she met up with you the day before and kind of had a little report. And
Really?
girlfriend, do you know that man has a way of looking at a lady? Ooh.
Really? Where was this?
I was in LA, like
Wow.
on 92.3 The Beat or something like that. And she was all kind of like, yeah, and he's got that single, and he's hot too.
You need to investigate that. You can't leave that stone unturned. See what's going on.
Man, but that's something. I
How
mean,
do you
I
like
was
the
like,
album?
Hmm?
How do you like the album?
I really liked it a lot. I have to tell you though, as a German, when you come up with 99 Luftballons being played on the radio all the time, being in German, as all Germans have a problem with their own language anyways, that's kind of like, I know that song. Oh no, that's German. They should do some James Brown shit.
Right.
Because, you know, we're kind of all sitting down here, been taught to negate our culture ever
That's a
since
shame.
the Second World War. We just, you know, try to not have everything German around us and try to change our world by having all the American stuff. I mean, if you walk around here, that must be really interesting, seeing all the German kids in their hip-hop gear and their, you know, wearing all the right stuff that they saw in the source. And
That's true. I mean, that was pretty crazy for me. I think the first time that I left the country, going to another country and then seeing what you saw in New York, you know, and you were expecting to see a different culture, a different mentality, so to speak, and wow, those are the new Air Max, you know, and you're like, I don't even have those yet. You get them and you're bugging out, you know, so you expect, I don't know, I think I was a little biased because you learn about things like, you know, culture in school, and you come to a place and you expect to see clogs, and instead, you know, you see new trainers and new sneakers that you don't own yet, so.
yeah,
quite
you're probably
interesting.
going right back.
Exactly, and I have a big sneaker fetish. You know, I think it was because I was deprived as a youth. My mother only got me plastic shoes when I was little from the supermarket with the little tags connected to them, but she was smart about it. She would get me about 5 pairs of these generic sneakers. I mean, sneakers that say sneakers on the side, you know, and they're handwritten. It's not even embroidered. So it was very interesting. So now that I'm a little older, I go to stores and I purchase hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of sneakers and shoes because I never had them as a kid. Because I was the only kid on the basketball court that sounded like I was wearing high heels because the bottom of my sneakers were plastic and they knocked like wood. And I would slide when I was trying to take a jump shot because I had no grips on the bottom of my trainers. But that was a painful memory that I'd like to forget.
But then you probably were the only kid in the playground too that didn't get robbed of the sneakers.
That's true. That's true. You know, so I guess that was comforting. So you have to look at the good with the bad. You know, and nobody wanted to rob me for anything because everything I had was very much generic. And my mother asked me to this day, you know, why do you have to have the name brand stuff? I said, because you never bought it for me as a kid. So now I buy her the name brand stuff. And if I ever bring anything cheap into her house and offer it to her, you know, she will spit on me. But in a good way because it's tough love.
So where about in New York are you from?
Brownsville, Brooklyn. And it's technically declared by the NYPD as a war zone. I don't, yeah, seriously, it's like, it was, you know, some kids were fortunate enough to have serenades when they were coming. We had gunshots, so, you know, you knew that everything was good because nothing changed in the wild, wild east. But I don't live in Brownsville anymore, but I do still visit, and I keep a good amount of my fellow Brownsvillans around me when I'm back in New York, and sometimes when I travel in the area and I can bring them, I think, you know, that's a big treat for me to let them see other places. Because some kids who grew up in Brooklyn and will never see New Jersey. You know, they find this comfort and in the ghetto, and they become accustomed and complacent to that lifestyle without realizing what else there is out there. You know?
So where's Brownsville? Is that kind of in between Bed-Stuy and Fort Greene?
No, you know, it's further into Brooklyn. I guess between Bed-Stuy and Queens. You know, it's really deep into Brooklyn. You know, it is kind of close to Queens though.
So this kids probably won't even see Brooklyn Heights.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Brooklyn Heights is another world in and of itself, because even though there's no big gate around Brooklyn Heights, it's still so exclusive, you know, and you have the police patrolling, and that's set up for a reason. You know, it's the intimidation factor to make you think that you are not welcome, because really you are not welcome, you know, and they're letting that be known. I had a co-op. I was living in a co-op in Brooklyn Heights after I thought I made a little bit of money, and it was one of the bigger apartments in the complex, and there were people who owned their co-op in their apartment who really looked at me with this type of animosity, like, well, how can this young guy, you know, move up in and he has these friends that all look like drug dealers because they're the expensive cars outside the building. Oh, he must be dealing in drugs, you know, nobody, he's young, you know, this little young punk, he's 21, 22, I fought my whole life and I can't afford a place like that. So I moved out just because it wasn't nice going on tour and then coming back and not feeling at home, because, you know, your neighbors didn't trust you, nor did they even speak. You say, "Hello, Mr. Robinson." Oh, it's just you, you know. And you're like, it's crazy, but that's I guess that's what society teaches you.
Plus, an eloquent black man in America, they'll be thinking he took the better English course in jail.
Yeah, exactly. He must have learned you know, how not to speak that Ebonics while he was studying under Minister Farrakhan's rule while he was in cell block C-73. You know, it's crazy. You know, and you tell them you went to a good school and they think you meant reform school. So it's really interesting, but I'm not bitter.
No, you didn't seem bitter. You're much too intelligent to be bitter.
Yes, I laugh about it and I learn from my experiences, and I still can't catch a cab in New York City, but you know, you step up to the plate and you buy a car. That's better than most of other people's. And you laugh and you enjoy life while you still have it. You know, because a lot of people don't anymore, but such is life.
That's true. How long have you been with the refugee camp?
I've been with the refugee camp and the Refugee AllStars for about 5 years now. We met in '93, and this was after I heard a crazy song called Booth Bath, and I saw 3 people in a group screaming into the camera with these abstract lyrics over abstract beats. And I said, I like these guys. These guys are, they must feel as alienated as I do sometimes, because they're a bit ahead of their time. So I flew the bird out. I flew the word that I wanted to meet them. And through mutual friends in the music business, we met. I met Lauren first, and she introduced me to Wyclef and Praz and everyone else. And you know, the rest is kind of like history. I submitted beats. We did the score. I was a part of the nominations when it came down to the Grammys and things. It made me feel really proud to be with an organization that was in fact a family. So it's good.
So you did say you met Lauren first.
Yes. Yes. I dated Lauren briefly, if that was any of...
That's of any interest to anybody.
Yes,
no.
Yes indeed.
We don't dig into people's private life.
No, not at all.
What's her number?
Yeah, it was great. It was great, but I don't want to dwell.
Hey, neither do I. So
on to the next topic. What do you think about global warming?
That's right. Did you date her too?
Dating is funny. Dating is funny because it's just funny. No, I think if I had it my way, I probably wouldn't date. I probably would be married right now with children. I really have this. It's funny. I'm 23, but I have baby fever. Like, I really want to be a dad. You know, I want my little kids in the studio with me running around talking about my dad is cool, because I want to lessen the generation gap. So by the time that, you know, they get older and they're 15 and 16, they want to go out on a date or they want an earring or something, hopefully I won't be so far removed from being able to relate to them. Or they want a tattoo. I don't know about the eyebrow piercing or anything like that. We might have to watch that. I might be a little bit conservative in that, right? However, I'm serious, man. It would be really nice to have, you know, a nice woman and a nice family to go home to. You go on tour, or maybe they come out with you for a little while. But I don't want to rush things. I'm young, I'm single, and I'm free. If you guys want to send in applications, please feel free to do so. You know the address, you know the phone number. That'll be great. And in any event, no, I'm out there dating.
And you're hot too.
Well, you know, that's why I call the record Hot. We named the record on the album Hot. So I figured you might as well not live in denial. You might as well be hot. If you are hot, be hot. No. Actually, hot had nothing to do with that. Hot was just the record, because I couldn't think of another title, and it sounded like the sample was saying hot. So I said, wow, why don't we just name this Hot? No, that was just one long verse on the album, and we went into it. But I mean, you know, you get the compliments and things like that, but you really learn not to get souped up. You kind of just take it in stride and take it all with a grain of salt. Which goes into another one of the records on my album, which is called "All You Got to Do Is Make a Record," which touches a little bit more on the philosophies of an artist and the perks that you may receive because you may have a record deal and a contract and you're visible within the public's eye, without necessarily being a household name, but have attained a certain level of success.
Yeah, I remember Praz running around with a t-shirt. It's like, give me the fortune, fuck the fame.
Yeah. Well, fame isn't all bad. It can be annoying, but I don't really know that much of it yet, except for when I was in Italy and some girl tried to pull my hair out and said, "Gianni Forte, you're Italiano, no?" And I said, "Si, get off me." No, I'm kidding. No. No, I'm saying that hurt me, man. She almost pulled my hair out and ripped it out, and then, I mean, like, have you no compassion? And then people will come up to me and they say, "Oh, can I have something of yours?" I'm like, "You can have an autograph." Say, "No, what about a lock of your hair?" "Oh, sure." So I'll be walking around with half my hair, bald, because I feel like giving away my hair today.
And B can relate, because people be like, they're approaching her because she's running around being black in Germany. Everybody be like, "Can I have your autograph?"
Mm-hmm.
And then she signs it, and who are you, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "I'm the intern." And they go, "Oh, thank you."
That's gonna be worth something, definitely. I think about all the letters that I wrote to, past dates, where I said a little bit too much, and if it'll pop up on entertainment tonight.
That's right.
We have secret letters of John Forte when he was in the 5th grade, when he bared his soul
To Monica Lewinsky.
Oh gosh, forget about it. It's too much drama. No, but I mean, they compromise with everything. You just learn how to take it all and just have fun with it, not stay depressed. And I can be a very depressed person sometimes.
Hey, that's what intellect brings with it. At some points, I think, therefore I am.
Well, ignorance brings depression as well. Yo, man, want that car? Yo, that car will make me so happy. My life won't be complete if I don't have that car. And I think that's a prime example of ignorance. Because you make a material possession or item your God, and you only live for that. Trust me, I like material items, but I don't set the precedent on how I like to live my life by what I own, or what I don't own. Nor should the children out there. I think there's more to life than nice cars and big homes and things like that.
That's a nice thing, though, because that's one of the things that the Refugee AllStar camp is like bringing out there to hip-hop,
Mm-hmm.
in a way, where they're telling people, hey, it might be nice to have the newest sneakers. It's cool to drive a Jeep.
Right.
I enjoy doing this
Mm-hmm.
and that, and even champagne tastes nice to me.
Especially for breakfast. But But
with Naomi Campbell on your side, and
actually, a very good friend of mine is not Naomi Campbell. I thought that was a funny joke. No, no, I'm good friends with a friend of hers though, Amber Valletta, and that was an experience.
Isn't she getting props on the on the record? Isn't she on a new single?
I shouted her out actually on the song, but that song didn't make the album, and I said I forgot what was the rhyme. I said
she's in the thanks store or in the shout outs for the record because I got the copies of the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I'm like, damn, Gucci girl.
Prada.
All right, Prada. I'm sorry.
I forgot the Gucci girl's name. No, me and Amber, we saw a movie one night. We were leaving the movie theater. Somebody would recognize her, somebody would recognize me. So we were walking home to her house. I was just dropping her off. I wasn't going in. Because she's currently involved with someone. So we're just good friends. If this tape ever happens to be played in the place where her boyfriend lives. I'm sorry. We were walking, well, I was dropping her off, and we had a contest. Who would be recognized more on the way home? And I won. So I felt really good about that. And it was a bunch of kids, I think, who went to NYU. It was like 6 white guys, 3 black girls. That's like, an eclectic mix. It was, typical of NYU students. And they came up to me and said, John Forte. And Amber said, no, you have to know them. I said, why? Because they're white? She said, no, because they didn't know me, and that's where it all started from. So it was fun. But I diverged from the point of the music industry and not, being materialistic to the point where you do become, in fact, shallow. Yes.
Yes, indeed.
So,
where were we? Amber Valletta kind of brought me off course, and I didn't know she lived in Brownsville now.
No, she doesn't live in Brownsville. No, that is.
Now that she said NYU, she's probably living in the village somewhere.
Aren't you just very, very clever? But NYU has the campus is pretty spread out, so there could be many parts. There's a part on the east side in the 50s, there's the village
I know
portion.
she's probably hanging out in Washington Square Park in the summer, kind of getting a drink on, smoking a joint, and hanging out with a boombox.
Yeah, breakdancing, doing a head spin. In between Prada shoots.
But that's fun though.
Yeah.
But it's still, I had the experience the other way around, walking through New York with a black girl.
Mm-hmm.
And
you must have gotten some really interesting looks.
Man, I was like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe it. Because it's so, I didn't even get that in the South.
Mm-hmm. Actually, that's what's really funny about the Northeast in particular, because, that's the irony of the situation. You think that they would be more liberal, open-minded, and accepting, and tolerant even. But there's a different sort of racism. It's the underlying, which could be worse because it's not blatant and you don't necessarily know what the person is thinking. But the implication sometimes, them just making subtle remarks, subtle gestures, could be more damaging ever than I think an ignorant person